price of XRP is closing on us, and giants understand this properly, and they accumulated when the ordinary retail guys capitulated. If you don't see what is coming, in the following minutes I will try to show you why I'm so bullish on XRP than ever.
Of factors which are really related to the cryptocurrency world, and the fact that we're observing various products. We think the generation of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and so on are probably not going to become the mainstream means of payment in the economy. That we think that they're pretty deeply flawed in their design in a way that means that they'll never be effective as a means of payment, store of value, unit of account.
Now that's the first generational crypto he's referring to. Due to its flaws in the three corners of the value triangle, that's the governance, security and scalability, they can't actually act as the means of payment. Now in this video, if we play that is kind of, you can get a continuation from there.
With millions of Americans suddenly dependent on benefit payments, the pandemic has presented a somewhat antiquated banking industry, to say the least, with a pretty huge challenge. Our next guest, Brian Brook.
So the legacy, antiquated, decades-old system cannot keep up with the innovation and the needs of the economy in a crisis. Okay, I understood that clearly. Now let's move on to the further areas in this video.
Before, when we made a decision collectively in this country to shut down the economy very broadly back in March, we depended on the banks to deliver benefit payments in the form of paycheck protection program loans and checks sent from the Treasury Department. And the problem is we were sending those across 19th century banking rails. Many people said that it took days or sometimes weeks to receive their payments. And my vision is that we need to get to a place in this country where payments can be transmitted virtually instantaneously, where errors can be eliminated. And it turns out technology exists today that can help us do that. So we need to get there, I think, sooner rather than later.
Eyebrows raised, or you were ready to hear that? Okay, now breaking down what Brian just said in summary, first thing is that the time when we need the technology to deliver what banks can't deliver as of now is now, due to this current health crisis. So why couldn't the banks deliver that? Because they still run on a 19th century system, which is completely flawed. There are errors and there are many demerits for that particular item, right? So what is the solution for this particular thing? Now we have the technology to transmit payments virtually instantaneously, where errors can be eliminated. So that is something important to look upon when we are talking about payments industry in the world. Stay focused as we go further into today's morning coffee episode, because that's gonna be valuable for XRP holders. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. If you saw value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done it already. So if you would like to extend your support, you can use the links for Patreon and PayPal in the description below. You can access Patreon to unlock more value for your portfolio based on your investing risk tolerance and your ideology of investing. Now diving back into the topic, when we see this particular chart, say shown by Wilco, what you can understand is it's kind of easy to look at it, right? The volume stayed way low and the volume just rose to the upside. Now this was the selling volume, but it was compensated with the buyer's volume at the bottom. When the price was going down, the price didn't come in, but when the price kind of reached the bottom around 0.11, 0.12, 0.13, 0.14 till say 0.15, the buyers just came in and they were buying crazy. So these accumulation which happened here would majority be the whales, and that is the area when you look at the accumulation zone of XRP holders, you can see the whales pumping the total value in XRP. Now that is when the majority of retail investors are capitulating from this. Now when we just heard about this aspect of governmental aspects for payments, and they are kind of pushing back the first generational cryptocurrency due to its flaws, say particularly security, the 51% attack, and then the scalability issue. So say for example Bitcoin network, you need someone else to come on top of it to provide the scalability, meaning if you are already prepared the network for peer-to-peer transaction for global scale and it can't do that, then that doesn't actually work that way. But if you look at Ripple's system, say XRP, it was meant for payment. Now others are coming on top of it and creating other stuffs like smart contracts. So what is the difference? It is cool for the payments. Now they are just increasing the use case. But for BTC network and all, others have to come in to give more specifications to the system so that it can go through the actual use case it was intended to meet. Now, this is a fundamental change. When we look here, the Gemini now offers crypto trading and storing service. That means new money coming in. And this particular article highlights Quantum Capital Management, a wealth management firm with more than 125 million assets under management, is the first client of Gemini and blockchain. So what are they doing here? They are offering crypto trading and storing service. Storing means the custody to registered investment advisors. So that is actually a cool thing to understand. When traditional investors are jumping in, yeah, they won't be coming in like 20-50% from that portfolio. Instead, it would be like, say, 0.5%, 1%, 2%. But still, many drops make an ocean. So you have to actually keep that in mind. Once guys come in at these price range and they start to see profits as the price rise, say to 0.5, 0.7, they double, they triple their profits. The news is gonna spread even faster than the current virus which spread around the world. So that is going to be a madness into the bull run. So that is kind of adding oil into it. Now looking at this particular tweet from the clearinghouse, it is kind of adding on to what we just heard in both of these videos. So the fundamental change is here. Cash is tight for everyone, and there's a need for the network for things like expedited payrolls, the ability to pay someone immediately to get a good service or a good is big part of the pivotal to go digital. Now, when we talk about a digitized economy or a tokenized economy, these aspects are key, right? Paying someone, say someone work for you in another geographical area, say you are in America, someone is working for you in Asia, and you can pay them instantaneously whenever the work is completed with lower cost. That is efficient for you as an employer. Now, if you look at multinational companies around the world and show them this particular option, they will be looking at cutting cost in many ways and taking out their dormant capital, which is kept just to meet those payment needs, right? So for them, this is a golden opportunity. And at the same time, look at XRP. If you look at XRP's chart in previous, say, back in 2014 to 2017 cycle, you can see that the volume was rising and the price just went to the upside and the volume went down. And then when the volume came back in, it started moving to the upside and crossed the previous high here and then the previous high here. Then that bull run was initiated. So if you look at the same thing for now, what's happening now, you'll have to see that we just reached the second area. First, this was erased, that previous high was erased, we made a new high here. So this is a lower low and this one is a higher low and higher high. So that is kind of showing you that within that bear market we just entered into a bull rally in the bear market. Now once we just close above 0.5, that is bull mode entirely. Now at that particular time, as I told you, individuals would be watching at different types of profits and they would be jumping in, and based on whatever we just discussed from the payments aspects, values, storing aspects, governmental regulation aspects and all, they would be looking at this like this. The price doesn't reflect its true value. So the true value of XRP, considering all of these fundamental, would be way higher than what we can imagine. Now, if you are to imagine that based on the technical analysis, we went through that, right? It can even reach up to $200 in next soon coming market cycle. Now, you can actually argue that based on the fundamentals, the technicals should be at least 3 times more than what had happened previously. So if you were looking at 140,000% in the last cycle, you should be looking at 3 times more than that. Now, yes, that can be argued or debate. That is debatable based on the fundamentals. Now, with that said, we also have to understand central banks are working on this. They are kind of slow. Yes, the fundamentals are racing. The health crisis is kind of pushing the adoption for this technology. But still, we have to understand that the central banks are slow and, they are trying to keep up in a way that banks don't go irrelevant. Banks just don't go off, they don't die off. So they have to actually meet that point as well. But at the same time, we can see analysts coming out and stating long-awaited XRP bull run just arrived. Now, when we look at that, what you have to understand is this cryptocurrency did the best in 2017. So if it is to repeat that in this market cycle, you have to choose which asset you should be riding this market wave. Now, when we talk about that, I'll actually, yesterday's video, I just showed you this as a fundamental change, but I would actually like to show you this one. This aspect inside that one shows bridging the silos. Everyone is preparing different walled gardens around the globe, and this has to be bridged in one manner or the other. And what you have is a change in the infrastructure. And when the infrastructure is changing for financial institutions, you need what? You need to reduce the complexity, increase the transparency, reduce this errors, increase the scalability, everything associated should be done. And that is where you have an asset like XRP which can do all of this together. And then we see partnerships coming from all around the globe, which is either towards Ripple or towards Ripple's partner. So Accenture to accelerate the digital journey of RBL. When we look at that, that's from Mumbai and Bangalore Webwire. So they are actually closing on this one. They are moving into new technology, the era of new technology. They are going to ride this wave. So the fundamentals, along with considering the partnerships, the regulations, custody service, adoption, everything is kicking off. So just what we have to see is the kick off in the price chart. Now, yes, we'll have to check on the smaller time frame chart. Say this one is a 4-hour chart and this one is a daily chart. I'll explain what those horizontal lines means, but before that I would actually show you guys another thing. Ripple partner Access Securities introduced global investing from vested for Indian retail market. So Indian market is kind of opening up. You can actually see how these things are evolving just after Ripple stated that we are going to open a ODL corridor towards India soon without much of a delay. So these gets connected, right? When they announce that, and automatically sooner or later within that short time period, everything is rolling out. And this is another thing towards the adoption of crypto assets, right? Now, jumping into that technical aspect, what we can see in this one is, say, on the daily chart, you can see that the price went to the upside. It got resisted, it came back down, and it was supported at this particular line. Now that is established horizontal support resistance area, right? So this is acting as a support now. Then the price went to the upside. Now this particular green candle can be considered as a small term mother candle there, and the price is within this area. Now if you zoom in, you can understand what that means. It went to the top, it got resisted, it came back down, but it was supported at the previous resistance here. So that resistance is now acting as a support, and the price is bouncing. So if we get a bounce back towards the 0.32 area and then break above that area, it's going to be something huge. Why? Once we get that break, it's kind of a confirmation that on a 3-day chart, if you take this on a 3-day chart and look at the same pattern, we're talking about this particular pattern. Now once we break that, the target goes like 60-70% from there. As now, all the crypto investors who are here from 2017, for them 60-70% is nothing, even in say a short time frame, right? But as we see traditional investors entering into this market, for them 60% in a week or two is huge. So that is going to change the entire history here for them. And when we talk about the price changes, how they are actually trying to do this, they are going to get the help of artificial intelligence to predict this. Capital One has applied to patent an artificial intelligence cryptocurrency prediction trading engine. If a giant like Capital One is going for a patent like this, there is a lot of efforts behind creating one patent. You have to actually go through a lot of things to first make that system and then patent that system, because before you patent that system, you have to make sure that it actually works, right? So Capital One patent an AI platform capable of turning the internet's 24/7 crypto informational overload into actionable trading recommendations. So if they are going to make this as a trading recommendation, that means either they see this area as new investors, traditional investors coming in, new money coming in, the flow of money towards this direction, or they have all of this themselves, say their investors, their clients are going to come in and do the same. So the aspect of adoption for investing is kind of established. In the near future, we can see more money coming in. So what you have to concentrate, as I told in last couple of videos, always look where the money is going. Follow the money. Otherwise, you are going to drain your portfolio. If you don't want to drain your portfolio, if you want to look at the risk tolerance level, if you want to understand what type of assets you have and where in the market cycle are these assets, because look at XRP, it would be having a different market cycle than Ether or any other assets like OMSIGO, IOTA or other which you have in your portfolio. If you would like to discuss all those, you can actually use the Patreon link in the description that can actually support you. Now that's not something mandatory, only if you want to get more value for your portfolio and manage your risk level, you can actually use that. Now, as we go further, what you have to understand is when we talk about these kind of short-term price fluctuations, you also need to understand when we jump onto a monthly chart, we are still waiting for the close and opening of a next month candle, which would be pushing the price and the MACD. If the price is getting close even in anywhere in the green territory, we are going to see a open here in the positive range on a monthly chart and across to the upside in the MACD. That kind of huge thing to see, because if you just measure that from there, this particular point here, we just crossed to the downside, and till here we are moving to the downside. So that is 731 days. So if we are doing the opposite from this 731 days, that means something just changed. And as we just saw in the volume area, we understood that on a weekly candle we are watching higher volume these days. Volume was down, now the volume just came back in, and that is pushing the price to the upside. And we can see that on the weekly we are making kind of a rising flag, we can call it. Now why I call that a rising flag, because if you go back on a BTC chart, BTC USD chart, and look at when the BTC started that bull run, if you look at say on a daily chart, what you can see is it kind of made a rising flag there. And at that time I was like, it is not a flag, but what is it? If you concentrate here, you can understand that it went to the upside. It was getting, if you zoom in, you can understand it was moving to the upside, but in a smaller candles, and then it just broke off. Boom, it just went 20-30% to the upside, and again it kind of moved slowly to the upside, but not those big candles, right? So it was like a rising flag, you can see, and then it consolidated in the same manner, extending that flag, and then again broke to the upside. Boom, then it was kind of repeating that thing until it reached around 14,000. So if we expect something similar to XRP USD chart, we can look at say around 0.7 area in the near future. So guys, that's all for today, and if you received value for your time, do hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you would like to support the research on this channel, you can log into your Patreon account and just support the channel with your open heart. And if you would like to gain or unlock more value for your portfolio, you can take up different options in the Patreon link, which will provide you even less than $1 a day, something, one package is like even $0.3 a day. That is nothing compared to what you are looking in profits for your portfolio in the long run. So it's completely up to you. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.